Yo, what is up, you guys? Welcome back. Monday morning, feeling good. Starting off the day with a 2013 Hyundai Santa Fe. 2013 Hyundai Santa Fe, no starting. It's a crank no start. I want you to have a listen. Take your guesses, get your pens out, y tomen nota. Ahí les va. All right, ready? 2013 Hyundai Santa Fe. This one is a V6. Listen to this. Crank, no start. So what I went ahead and did, I took some of the some throttle body cleaner that we have around here, sprayed it in the intake, and it started right up. So now I know that I'm headed to a fuel related issue. Now, is it the pump? Is it no power to the pump? An open circuit? Is it, what is it? You know, you can't just spray chingadera into the intake and call it a fuel pump. Yes, 90% of the time you might get it right, but there's times when it's not, and then what do you do? So right now I got myself a diagram. I want to show you what I'm looking at, and it's pretty simple, pretty basic. All right, here we go. I said 2013. It's actually a 2010 Hyundai Santa Fe with a 3.5 liter engine. So I merged these two diagrams together just so you can see, but basically it's a fuel pump fuse feeding the relay, then the relay activates and powers up the pump. That's simple. So what I'm gonna do first of all, it's check the fuse here, because this pump right here, I can go straight to the pump and check for power, and if I got power and ground, boom, I got a bad pump. But this, if you can see, I don't know if you can read that, it says inside the fuel tank beneath the rear seat. So I'm gonna go straight to the fuse. If that fuse is good, I'll go to the relay, and I gotta make sure I'm getting power at the relay and power out of the relay. If I'm getting power out of the relay, that tells me that my control side, which is these two wires that are not highlighted here, these two come from the PCM. If I got power coming out the relay, that means everything here is good. Then I gotta go out here to the pump and make sure that I'm getting power at the pump. I can also put a jumper wire here, connect an amp clamp with my scope and see if I got current flow. And if I do, that means that my power and ground are good, because no power, no ground, no current flow. If I have current flow, I got a good power and a good ground. So let's take you over to the fuse. Let's go. All right, so here's a fuse box. I got myself a test light hooked up to a battery ground. Anytime I find power, it lights up. So what I'm gonna do right now is find the fuel pump fuse right here. It says number 16 fuel pump fuse. Okay, fuse 16. We're looking at this like this, right? Because I got, and the relay is up here at the top. So here, let me see. We'll put that here. So my fuel pump fuse is 16, which is right there. My pump relay is right there. So pretty simple, pretty close to each other. So now let's test them right here. So that's my fuel pump relay. This right here is my fuel pump fuse. You can see it lights up on that side and it lights up on that side. So is my power getting to that relay? Let's see. So when you're looking at this, the load side of the relay are these two right here, and these two on this side are the control. So I should have ground here and power here. So you can see I got a power there. And just to show you guys that that power comes from this fuse, I'm gonna take that fuse out, and you should see that light go out. Okay, put it back in there, light up, take it out, put it on. So that power comes from this fuse. That fuse is good. The wiring from the fuse to the relay is good, but is that power making it out to the pump? So let me put that there. I'll switch my clip to battery positive, and I should have a ground, and that ground is my fuel pump ground. And I got no ground. But is it working? Yes. Okay. I should have a ground here. Let me show you here on the diagram. This is what I'm doing. I'm checking this pin right there, that pin goes through here, goes in there, goes through the windings of the pump, and it goes back to ground. So why don't I have a ground at this blue wire at the relay? It could be that the pump has an open circuit. It could be that this ground is open, and that's why there's no ground making it back to the relay. I should have a ground there all the time, unless there's an open over here or anywhere in this wire. So check it out. This is what I'm gonna do. I got a little piece of wire like this, about 3 inches. You see how it's made out of different strands? I'm gonna take one of the strands and pull it out. So now I got a little piece of wire here. On the relay, on this pin, this is a pin that goes out to the fuel pump. I'm actually gonna tie that little wire around that terminal of the relay, and I'm gonna run it in circles like that. Can you see that? And then I'm gonna stick it down in the fuse box. So now this piece of wire is gonna be where I'm gonna be testing to make sure there's power, and make sure this is gonna tell me if these 2 pins are being commanded by the PCM, and if this power from this pin is making it to this pin. So let me stick this back in the box. Now I have a wire here where I can do my testing. So I'm gonna hook up my test light to battery ground and connect it here. And if I have power here when I'm cranking the car, that tells me that my fuse is good, my relay is good, and the relay is actually activating, and the power is making it from the relay out to this wire. But is it making it to the pump? We're gonna have to check at the pump. So let me put the test light to battery ground and wrap it around here. Okay, you can see the strand of wire right here. So test light to battery ground. I'm gonna wrap this wire around my test light, and I'm gonna leave my test light sticking right there. So now when I crank the car, I should have a power here at my light. So let me go do that real quick. I'm gonna leave you right there. You should be able to, can you see this light bulb? You should be able to. I'm gonna crank it and we should see a light there. And if that light is, if this test light lights up, that means that everything's good here. I gotta go check my power at the pump. All right, I think you guys saw that. I'm gonna go back and check the footage, but I think that you guys saw that light up, because I saw that light light up. So now I'm gonna go take off the rear seat and do my checks at the pump, and we'll see. We'll go from there. All right, so hopefully you guys saw that test good. That tells me that my controls to the relay are good, that power's making it out of that relay. So now I gotta go back here, remove the rear seat, and do some checks at the pump. Now the reason I'm gonna take off the seat is because I'm almost 100% positive that it needs a fuel pump, but I'm not getting a ground at the relay that should be coming from that pump. So I gotta do some checks over here at the pump anyways. If I would have checked for current flow, I know that I wouldn't have any current flow because I got no ground. Now, is that pump open? Do we have an open power feed? Do we have an open wire from the relay to the pump, or do we have an open ground? We're gonna have to check that out right now, taking off the seat, and I'll show you what has to come off in order for you to take that off. So let's go to the back of the car. All right, so these back seats are gonna have to come off. I already got it started here. There's 4 bolts, one right here, one down there, and then 2 on the other side. These little covers you gotta remove, just pry them out. And then these are 14mm bolts. Once you take those out, you got the front bolts out. You're gonna have to come back here. So you got to remove your cover. There's a 14mm bolt right there. There's another 14 right there. And then over here on this side, there's 2 more inside of there. You'll be able to see them once you lift this up. Just use an extension with whatever tools you got. Take those off, and then you should be able to remove this seat. Once this seat comes out, we'll be able to access our fuel pump. So let me go ahead and take care of that real quick. Now when you come in here, you're going to see 2 of these chingaderas. The one on the driver's side is the one that we're going after. I've already got this taken apart because I'm trying to figure out which wire is which. The connector that we're going to be looking at is this gray one right here. The other one, this is for the fuel tank pressure sensor. So we leave this one out of the way, but you can see our wires here. We got a white black, we got a green, we got a black and a blue. All right, so I opened up this little connector on the back. You can see our black wire here and our blue wire here on the right. So when I flip it over, my blue wire is on the left, my black one's on the right. So I should have a ground on this wire, and I do. And on this one, I should have a ground when with the pump connected. So let me plug this in, and I should have a ground there, because this ground that's on this black wire should go through the pump winding and come back out to here. Now if I have it here and I don't have it at the relay, then I'm suspecting a wiring issue. So let me plug it in. I got a little T-pin here. I'm gonna put this first on the black wire, just so you know that we do have a ground there. So I'm on the black wire. Push it, you gotta make sure you're all the way in. Okay, can you see that? Okay, I got a good ground there. So that ground should be on the blue wire also. I can feel it touching, and I don't have a ground there. So what does this mean? The ground goes into the pump, but it doesn't make it out of the blue wire. That pump right there is no bueno. So I gotta take off this chingadera, chain out the pump, and we'll try to do some more testing after I put it back on there. But this is a dead pump right there because it has open windings inside. Something else I want to show you, I'm hooked up on the blue wire, and I'm gonna put this alligator clip there. I need to crank it and make sure that I'm getting power at the test light with the car cranking, and that's gonna tell me that my wiring from here, from the pump back to the relay, is good. I've already shown you that I got no ground, and that ground should be traveling through the pump and back out. But let me just double check and make sure that I got a power here when I'm cranking it. So I'm gonna go crank it now. Crank in, 1, 2, 3, here we go. All right, well, that's all I'm gonna show you right here. This is a good power, a good ground, getting to the pump, should be going through the motor and back out to the blue wire, but it's not. So this is definitely a bad pump. I'm gonna go ahead and change it out, and then we'll see how it looks after, and we might be doing the same test after, just so I can show you what it's supposed to look like when it's good. So give me a couple of minutes, change the pump out, and we'll be back on this one. Okay, so here's the line. This line is inside the tank, and it comes from the other side of the tank, which is from that sending unit. So just plug it in and drop your fuel level sensor in first. The float, drop it in. Before you connect your lines, you gotta get your lock ring in there. And it's gonna be hard because I gotta push down and turn this ring at the same time, which is a pain in the ass. All I gotta do is get the ring to catch a little bit, and then I can hammer it in with my like a pry bar or something, because I don't know if there's a special tool for this, but it can be done. Now I need an extra hand. Fuck, why didn't God give me 3 hands? God damn it.
2 hours later.
There you go. All right, got my little tester. I'm hooked up on battery positive, so when my test light touches ground, it should light. Okay, I'm gonna back probe the black wire, and there's my ground. Okay, now I'm gonna back probe the blue wire, and I should also have a ground there if this pump is good electrically. So there it is. I'm on the blue wire, and I got a ground, so that ground is going down the black wire, coming right back out. So now if I go to the relay, I should have a ground on the pin that I checked at first. But you know what, if I crank this, it should start right now. Let me try that out. All right, car should start right now. Let's prime it. I can hear the pump. There it is. Got it running. Check engine lights on. That's because I got my fuel tank pressure disconnected. I should have plugged that back in. But anyways, got it running. We're good. Vámonos. I'm in the Santa Fe, about to take it on a little drive. Feels good. Honestly, I don't even need to test drive it because the car was in here car, truck, whatever. It was in here for a no start, so I just want to make sure that it doesn't die, you know, and make sure it feels good overall. I cleared the check engine light. It was for that fuel tank pressure sensor that I left disconnected. I just want to make sure that everything leaves good. Just want to address a couple questions that I think you guys might have. One of them might be, why didn't I use a fuel pressure gauge to diagnose this? And the truth is, I usually don't pull out the fuel pressure gauge unless I'm troubleshooting like a low power complaint. For a no start like this one, I didn't hear the pump prime when I turned the key on, and then I sprayed the intake with throttle body cleaner, and that made the truck start. So right away I knew I had a fuel delivery issue, and I wasn't, you know, gonna hook up the gauge just to show me that it had no pressure. So I went after it with some electrical checks. That's the way I felt like going about it, and there's no right or wrong way, as long as you figure it out, you know. You could do like I said earlier, I think I mentioned this, I could have done a current ramp test, and I was gonna see that there was gonna be no current flow because the pump wasn't spinning. So the thing that led me to the pump was no ground at the relay, and that comes from that pump from the back. Yeah, a lot of the tests I did was at the relay, and that's usually how I go about it many times. At the relay, you can address the control side, the load side, your powers, your grounds. That's how I was able to tell that I had an open circuit at the pump. There's no ground, so that was either going to be a wiring issue or a pump issue, and it turned out to be the pump. So those of you that are new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up for me. That's going to help me out a lot. It really helps with boosting my channel up. You know, I'm really trying to grow it right now, dropping new videos every week. And yeah, hit that little bell so you get notified when I drop new videos. And hopefully you guys liked it. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna call it a video right here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.